I've definitely been taking time to read some books, meditate. Um, I've been cooking for myself, you know what I'm saying? So, and interestingly, cleaning too. I was raised around all women, so I have the knack to want to straighten stuff up and clean, and I find that is definitely that's a gateway, for your thoughts to kind of live and you to still be in motion. You know what I'm saying? So. Well, I have always been thoughtful. I have always been considerate in, why I do things. This is this is a forever kind of perpetual thing that happens. I think with creative people, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're truly creative, then you can be inspired by anything. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that I've always been spiritual and detail oriented in that sense. There was one particular thing that happened to me that kind of shifted my routine at the time. And it was like working out. And but it wasn't just like, going to the gym and stuff like this. I started riding my bike. And my first bike ride, it was like 8 miles. And then it was like, oh, okay, that was cool. And that was like my first real long ride. And then I've gotten all the way up to 51 miles now on the bike. So riding the bike is definitely a portal for thoughts. And after I started riding heavily, then I started stretching more. I would like take some yoga classes and stuff like this. And I was thinking to myself, like, wow, it's really interesting that people don't pay attention to the fine detail of what some of these things have to offer, like yoga, because, it forces you to basically be uncomfortable and to learn how to breathe in really uncomfortable positions. Right. And, life is kind of like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's kind of just, it is what it is, so you have to be flexible and you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And when I started seeing that, I was just like, yo, I should have been doing this a long time ago, and it should have been a practice of mine in my daily regimen. Right. So yeah, I think it's necessary, you know what I mean, for men and women and just people to, take a moment and, get more flexible in their thought process and their body. Yeah, I started doing those bike rides because at the time, I was like, I wanted to change my body. You know what I mean? Like, this was many years ago, and I wasn't really happy with the way that I looked, you know what I'm saying? And once I started doing that, a lot of things came up, and the transformation was becoming a father and also my business. That was a big shift for me because, I was basically becoming responsible for a whole human being. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, wait a minute, hold up. Some things that maybe I personally want to do, I need to consider, I'm about to become a dad. So yeah, I think those pivotal moments, really put us in a better position to be able to invite some new things, and also I think that sometimes we leave things like, we want to do things, but we don't know how to find time for it. It has to kind of call to us, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, we'll start it and then we'll leave it alone, like you said, for 6 months. And since I started working out, I have not stopped. And like I said, with my bike, 51 miles, like, I think anything that makes you feel, better is important to have in your life. You know what I'm saying? I'm really straightforward with the truth, and I speak to my kids like I would speak to adults. So I always I just try to, help them be more sound in their approach and understanding. I think that, you know, uh, besides them being mine and my responsibility and my kids, you know what I'm saying? I think that it's important for the rest of the world for there to be, just some positive role models, and I always try to be the best example for my kids in that way. Well, yeah, I mean, I would say yes and no, because women know how to deliver the truth just in a certain type of way. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So yeah, I would say yes and no, because my nana and my auntie and my mom, my mom had me at 16, so I was really young. You know what I mean? So it was like a kid growing up with a kid, so I had a lot of freedom. You know what I mean? But because of my nana, my auntie, and my mom, I always got um I always got a different version, you know what I mean? And life kind of taught me, how to be a man and stay steadfast in the truth, because it's different, when you're a black man, you know what I'm saying, in this place, in this planet, you know what I mean? I would say that I learned a lot of lessons, I paid for a lot of lessons.
Mhm.
And yeah, I did all right. So yeah. Oh yeah, my dad wasn't able to be around in those younger years, like 1 through, they say you pretty much are who you are from 1 to 7. You know what I'm saying? And then you become the newer version of that as you grow.
Right.
He wasn't really around during that time, so my aperture for truth was different. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I think the most, because I'm the firstborn, so everybody loves me, and but I got the truth. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I also had to explore the truth further. You know what I'm saying? Within my own experiences and what it meant to become a man. Not just in a woman's eyes or in my mom's eyes, but for myself. My pops is lit, on this second half. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have such a great relationship. I'm so appreciative. It's actually really interesting because he's so cool, and you know he has such. I wasn't able to see how he operated around women and stuff like that, and now I get to see that, at my older age and having a son. He always brings flowers, to my mom and to my. He's such a I don't want to say sweet, you know what I'm saying? And I want to say intentional. He's such an intentional man, and I respect that. I definitely have that from him too. So. Well, for me, I it's like looking back on it, I could see the things that maybe I didn't have that other kids had, you know what I'm saying? But looking back on it, and being mature and stepping into life, it's certain things that put you on a certain trajectory, and when you have kids, you really start to observe your parents, and you see the tools, that they were given, that were passed down, you know what I'm saying? So me and my dad, for me, it was a bit of a process, because I basically was a man, early.
Mhm.
And, I was like basically working at, 15 and 16, and then I was out traveling the world. So it took me personally some time to, you know, develop a communication, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm busy all the time.
Mhm.
But now looking back on it, I'm super appreciative for, my own experience, and also to be able to understand, him and what he went through. And, it's amazing now, because, we can talk and we have like a father-son relationship. And I feel like we've always had. I maybe just looked at it differently. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? That's one thing that I'm finding too. Like, oh, my dad has always been there. You know what I'm saying? And he's there. He's not going anywhere. And so I almost felt like, well, a lot of my experience was just based off of my perspective and my reality. Like my dad wasn't even not a bad person. You know what I'm saying? Like he's actually a really good person. You know what I'm saying? And, he just was caught up in some things. You know what I'm saying? And it's so cool because he was incarcerated. And then, he hasn't been incarcerated since the last time he went in. So it's been over like 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's awesome.
So he's definitely shown me like,
yeah,
it's my dad, you know what I'm saying? And I have like a lot of respect for him, you know what I'm saying? Even though, you know what I mean, I grew up away from him and I didn't have a lot of OGs, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of older cats, you know what I'm saying? That was like, yo, you know what I mean? Maybe a little tip, little here and there, you know what I'm saying? But not somebody that's like, hey, you know what I mean? Don't do that shit, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It was like, as a young man, it was like I had to bump my head a few times, you know what I'm saying?
So figure it out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm making sure that they have the same quality that of what it means to have a sibling as I have with my brother, because my brother is pretty much like, we are each other's teachers, you know what I'm saying? So, there's no one that probably understands me more as a man and as a young man than my brother. So I always try to instill the importance of, yo, Mega, don't do that to your sister. Ame, don't do that to your brother. Y'all a team. What are y'all doing? Listen, y'all ain't, I always make them, put them together because, essentially, your brother, your sisters, that ain't it's not gonna be a lot of people that know how to fight like that, like your womb buddy. If you have a really great relationship with your womb buddy, it's like almost having a second, or not a second, because actually your stomach is your second brain, but like another perspective, that could really be valuable if you nurture the relationship of your sibling. It's nothing like a sibling, you know what I mean? It's a language in itself, and it's a communication without dialogue, you know what I mean? It's just certain things are known and understood, So I always try to make sure that they, even though they're not that far apart. Mega will be 6 this year and Ame is 4. So, I always try to make sure like, hey, Mega, Ame, when Mega has to call and FaceTime me, you make sure that he FaceTimes me, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna tell him, you know what I mean? Right. I'll make sure that they're there for each other. I think that it's really important for me as a creative artist because, I don't want to, I'm not the kind of parent that forces, I don't want to force, how people say, okay, well, or I'm a musician, so my child has to be a musician. No, he doesn't. You know what I'm saying? He might have a different calling and purpose here. I think that the only important thing for my legacy is understanding the importance of business and, purpose. I think that integrity is important, and I want to just make sure, because I understand that it's part of my purpose. Mm-hmm. So I have explored that. I have figured that out through, making song after song after song. You know what I mean? I found it. I found that my purpose here is to remind people that even though the life journey is a very turbulent and there's ups and downs, that we have to remember joy, and happiness is a choice. So for me and my music, my music is about, discovering and rediscovering that all the time, and, asking yourself certain questions about love and relationship. So I feel like my music will, never get old, and I'll always have something to speak about because there's so many levels, and dimensions and perspectives of love. So for me, because I'm so rooted in purpose, I feel like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to continue on music. I want my children to find what that is for them. I want them to, have a active, relationship with why they do things. And I believe that as long as they do that, then they will continue to carry the legacy on. Like, and also in the business aspect, definitely want to have some businesses that I leave here, whether it be some dance academies or, some studios, some art, some movies. My kids are definitely entertainers, you know what I'm saying? But because they have it, I don't know. We're gonna see who they become. I just want them to definitely continue the service of living in purpose, because when you really recognize your purpose, you can serve your soul. And a part of serving your soul is serving others. You know what I'm saying? Well, my mom was like I said, she was 16 when she had me. So my mom gave me and my brother a lot of freedom, you know what I'm saying? And she gave us the freedom to explore, which I would tell, parents, you know what I mean? Let your kids, like 1 week I was ready to be, a basketball star. And then I was like, oh, I'm done with basketball, you know what I'm saying? And then I want to do that and I want to do this. But my mom was so supportive that I was able to see what I wanted to, become. And dancing and singing is, yeah, I feel like I've been living in my purpose for a long. That's what I'm saying. I'm here for this purpose, because, I'm one of the few, child prodigies, child entertainers, that are still here and that still have something to say and that still have good energy to give and positivity. And, we all know how tough that is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely on my mission. You dig? I'm looking forward to. Well, first of all, let me just say this. I think there's two ways to look at this experience. In quarantine, and that's, this is probably, if you're on the better side of things, this has probably been a great opportunity for you to do some things that you should have done or that you didn't get a chance to do. And then on the other hand, there's some people out here that's like, yo, they got the mask on, they got the Lysol, and they're like, yo, when everything opened back up, I'm not going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But for me, in my experience, I can't wait to, engage and see people and have a good time. That's what I'm here for. I'm ready to, I can't wait for the Millennium Tour to start back up, because, that's our thing. You know what I'm saying? Me and my fans, that's our thing. It's 20 years. 2020 is 20 years. So we like, yo, we linking up. You know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward just to linking up and, just, being able to do, having the freedom to be able to go and eat my favorite outside restaurant, you know what I'm saying? To be able to, go to, the Soho Lounge and, have a little cup of tea because that's just how I'm feeling right at the moment. You know what I mean? Just to be able to, be out. You know what I'm saying?
That freedom.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it was good. You know what I mean? Yeah.